What is up, 7th and 8th grade? It is Mr. Rant coming at you live again from McDonald Middle School hallway to give you these awesome video lessons about how to solve problems involving trend lines. So again, we are going to work with trend lines today, and I am going to show you how to solve these in a really simple and easy way. So just make sure that you are following along and copying every single thing that I am doing. If you somehow get lost along the way, just start the video over and it'll show you all the exact same things again. All right, so let's jump right into it. First thing we're going to do is read our question. We're going to circle and underline some important key terms or questions, and then we're going to solve our problem, right? All right, so first thing I'm going to do is read it. It says Phil collected data from several of his friends about the number of hours they spent sleeping and the number of hours they spent playing video games on Saturday. He recorded the data in the scatter plot. So here we have a scatter plot. That's our scatter plot. All right, and then so it says, based on the scatter plot, what is the best prediction of the number of hours one of Phil's friends spends sleeping when the friend spends 1 hour playing video games? So we'll take that question in one more time. It says, based on the scatter plot, what is the best prediction of the number of hours one of Phil's friends spends sleeping when that friend spends 1 hour playing video games? So we are trying to figure out how many hours does he sleep if he only plays video game for 1 hour. So I circled 1 because that's important, because we know they're only playing the video game for 1 hour. And that we know right here that we are trying to figure out how much time does he spend sleeping. So I'm going to put that question mark there because that's what I'm really trying to figure out, is the hours that they spend sleeping. So first thing we're going to do is make a straight line going through our trend line. And so you need to have a straight edge or a ruler for this. I'm going to use a ruler right here on the iPad. And the key thing about this is you want there to be like half of the dots on one side and the other half of the dots on the other side. So if you look at mine, we can see that there are clearly half of the dots along this part and the other half along the other. So I'm going to draw this straight line, and that is going to be my trend line. So now I have my trend line, and like I said, it still has half the dots on each side. And then now I'm going to go back to the question and take some of that information that I put. So right here I circled 1 hour playing video games. So I'm going to look along the x-axis first, and along the x-axis, which is left to right, I see it says hours sleep. Well, I'm looking for 1 hour playing video games. So the x-axis is not what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the y-axis on this question. And the y-axis goes up and down. And the y-axis also says hours playing video games. And I circled the number 1. So I'm going to circle 1 right here because I know that I am focused on 1 hour of playing video games. So I'm going to take my straight edge or my ruler again and draw another straight line to connect the information. And so I have my trend line going down diagonally, and then I have my 1 hour of playing video games. And so where they connect at, right here, is where my answer lies. And when I'm looking at that, my answer is really, really, really close to 9. It's kind of close to 8, but it's a lot more closer to 9. And so that is how I will know that if the kid only spends 1 hour playing the video game, then they are going to most likely spend about 9 hours of sleep. And so my answer to this question is going to be 9 hours. Now, like I said, it would have been 8 if it would have been a little more closer to 8, but because it's so close to 9, we're going to choose 9 as our answer. 7 wouldn't be our answer because it's really far off over here, and then 10 would be here, so that cannot be our answer either. So our answer is 9. All right, let's move on to our next question. And on this question, we're going to follow the same process. We're going to read the question. You're going to underline and box in some keywords or the question, and then we're just going to solve the problem and draw some lines, all right? So let's read the question. It says the scatter plot shows the number of people in each of 8 different households and the average amount of money each household spent on groceries. Based on the scatter plot, what is the best prediction of the average amount of money spent on groceries for a household that has 7 people? Okay, so let's read that question one more time. Based on the scatter plot, what is the best prediction of the average Amount of money spent on groceries for a household that holds 7 people. So what is the average amount of money spent on groceries? So that's what I'm trying to figure out, is how much money are they spending on groceries? And I know the household is going to have 7 people. So first thing I need to do is draw my trend line. So I'm going to take my trend line. Remember, I want half of the dots on one side where the other half are on the other side of the line. And that looks like it is about, as perfect as it's going to get. So I'm going to draw that line. And I draw it all the way up. So now I have my trend line. And I'm going to go back to my question. In my question, it says 7 people. So I'm going to look for the axis that talks about people. So when I look along the y-axis, it says the average amount spent on groceries, dollars. That's not people because people are not dollars. But when I look at the x-axis, it says the number of people in the household. So I know I'm looking for 7 people. But when I look at the number of people, it's going 2, 4, 6, 8. So instead of just choosing 6 or just choosing 8, I'm going to write 7 in between and use my own line. So here I have 7, and I'm also going to circle that because I know that's where I'm starting at, is with 7 people. So now that I have 7 people circled, I'm going to go ahead and draw my trend line, or draw my line that matches up with the trend line. So I'm going to use my straight edge again so that it is completely straight and that I have that information down. So I have my trend line, and I see that about right here is where they are meeting at. And if I take the ruler and draw another line, I can see across how far over it goes. And so when I draw that line, let's draw it again. When I draw that line, it stops at 240. So 7 people are going to spend about $240 a week. So I just need to find that in my answer choices. It says F, 240, G, 190, H, 210, or J, 300. Well, we boxed in 240, so my answer is 240. But let's look at the other answers to see why they cannot work. So 190. If I did 190, about right here is where it should have met up at, and that's way too low. So 190 can't be the answer. If I do 210, 210 will be right here, which is still also too low. So 210 could not be my answer. And then if I did 300, 300 is way up here. And that's just way too high for my trend line. So 300 cannot be it. So my answer is 240. Good job, guys, for following along. Have a good day. And remember, if you need a refresher, just go ahead and play the video back again and stop it on the part that you need help with. All right.